And we are back on Open Line. We are glad that you've joined us this evening. If you are just tuning in right now, we're glad to have you along with us. Our lines have been extremely busy this evening, and it always happens when Kevin's here. Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm, one of the top law firms in our state of Tennessee. In business over 34 years, and I tell you what, reputation, it means a lot, and you guys have a great reputation.
Well, thank you so much, and it is true. They say, well, what does the lawyer have in his toolbox? Reputation, character. Will he stand on what he says he will do? That's the measure of a great man. The measure of a great man would also be, what will the lawyer do? Man first, lawyer second.
There you go. And if you do have those questions and comments this evening, like I said, I encourage you to get online with us. Our lines are busy. We want to get to as many of the calls as we can this evening. And your calls, a lot of times, not only help you with that information, but a lot of the viewers that are out there watching as well. I learn a lot myself. All right, we're going back to our lines right now. Paul is on the line with us. Paul, thanks for your patience. And do you have a question or comment for Kevin?
Yes, sir. Are emails as legal as a registered letter or postal correspondence?
Good question.
That was my question.
We see emails, people print them off and they use them in court. They'll print off the telephone. You've got to be aware, you know, even if we asked Hillary Clinton tonight, we said, if you had it to do over again, would you have put all those emails in? No, she would say absolutely not. So when you're sending text and you're sending photographs and you just rest assured that if it can be interpreted against you, it will be. And if it can be used against you, it will be. So on emails, you've got some documentation. The problem is, of course, someone could say, I didn't sign that document. The other problem is someone could say, well, they got on my computer and sent this. I didn't send this. Someone had access to my phone and they sent this. So, you know, when you really get down to the evidence, it can be taken apart. So an old-fashioned certified letter is pretty tough and it's hard to beat.
Okay, great advice. Paul, we appreciate the question. Great question. Back to the lines right now. So we are going to Hiram. He is on the line with us. Hiram, we appreciate your patience. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yeah, I have a question. I was up at the Social Security office, and I was trying to apply, and because I'm on disability, and they said that they would only give me a little bit. And then I know other people in there, they were about my age and everything, and they were telling them they were getting more. And they said that I would have to go to like VA and Social Security disability, and they said to talk about discounts and stuff. And I was wanting to know, would y'all know anything about discounts and what I would do about that? Thank you.
Well, you know, a lot of the Social Security claims are based on the amount of money that you paid in to Social Security. That's why some people will get $2,400 a month Social Security. Some people will get $500 a month. So you say, well, hey, that's not fair. Most of it is based on how much that individual actually paid in. And if you get into the competing things, whether it's veterans benefits or military retirement and a Social Security, then is it normal Social Security or is it Social Security disability?
Okay, so that is good to know. One of the things that we did want to mention here, I know a lot of times you have a question of, is it good to represent my own self, or is it good to have that lawyer? And always good to have that lawyer.
Yes, you know, over my life, if I learned anything, the same thing I would teach my children. You know, both my sons are doctors. They're very educated, but I would never let them go without a lawyer. I've tried to brainwash. If I knew something that would help my children and I would take that, why wouldn't I teach you the same thing? And I hope that the two son doctors will teach their children what they've learned from Dad. And that's what you spend your life for. The greatest plumbers I've ever known, they were taught by their father. The greatest electricians, I've been in the rental business 41 years. They learn from their father. So this is just an extension from the classroom. We're on the broadcast, but this information needs to be brought in, shared, understood, and if there's questions, then call. Let's clarify them.
Absolutely. All right, back to the lines right now. Ed is on the line with us. Ed, we appreciate you calling in this evening. We hope you're doing well. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes. Two brief questions.
All right.
One, if you inherit, if you're the beneficiary of someone who passes, do you inherit their debt, like credit card debt, for example?
Okay, I'll answer that. You know, in a will, usually if they leave all their things to Chuck and it was his father,
right,
he would get that, but there would have to be open an estate. These bill collectors can file a claim against the estate and they would be paid out of the estate. So that is an issue that would have to be dealt with. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is.
And your second question?
Yep. And the second is, thank you very much. And if someone continues to bill someone after they've passed, can you get that money back from the people who continue to bill the credit card, for example?
Well, and that's a good question. How were they able to access his funds? But I think you've got a good argument if he did not owe that he could stop it right there upon his death. Now, if it was a past due bill and they say, well, he had us on automatic withdrawal of $300 a month and he still owes us $6,000, then they've got an argument that they're trying to collect their money.
All right, great advice, great questions, Ed. We appreciate you calling in this evening. We're going back to those lines once again, busy lines. Marty is on the line with us. Marty, welcome this evening, and do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, it's very important. I'm glad he said he's a manager of land and a renter.
Yes.
Now, my landlord, he left me a nasty note to take the Democratic challenger down in front of the apartment. I live in a quadruplex. Then he came by and put 2 Republican signs up. Now, mind you, this is a black neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why he did that. And then he dared anybody to take it down and beat on everybody's door, especially mine. Want to know what happened to the signs that he took down. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to know, is that legal or not? Nobody in Channel 5 is giving me direct answers, and nobody in the codes is giving me direct answers. So I want to know from you, directly out of your mouth.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Can you do that?
Thank you for calling. You know, there's a Fair Government Housing Act. It's a federal act where no one is supposed to discriminate against anyone. So what is the interpretation? Are they discriminating against you because you're expressing a particular political party? You know, that's open to interpretation, but I certainly think you have a legitimate claim that they can't do that to you. So that's my answer. And you know, we've said before, you say, the squeaky door gets the oil. And you know that there's retaliation. Someone could come back and say, you know, you're a troublemaker. Your trash is too full all the time. Your music's too loud all the time. You understand all that. We all understand what these rental companies can do. But what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And that's why we have a U.S. attorney too. People can file complaints and they can pick it up and take on the challenge. Thank you for your comments.
Absolutely. We appreciate the call, Marty. Hope certainly helped me just to hear that answer myself. Right now we're going to the lines again. Terry's on the line with us. Terry, good evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, sir.
Are you with us, Terry?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, sir?
Good.
Great.
I had my motorcycle put in the shop, and the guy told me I had to give him $100 down for the deposit before he could start on it.
Okay.
So after I gave him the $100 down, it took me a couple of weeks to get him the money, the $100 to him. So after I got the money to him, he told me he couldn't start on it until he was moving his shop to Mount Juliet. So
okay.
He told me he couldn't start on it until he got everything, all his motorcycles moved. But okay, he charged me $100 just to move my bike to Mount Juliet.
So did he look at your motorcycle? Did he do a dot?
He never looked at it, never did anything to it. And then now he's telling me that he won't have it did until after November. So it's been like 4 months.
Yes. Well, I'm running into the same situation there in Clarksville. You know, when you get to the fall and try to get your motorcycle worked on, they're all jammed up. And so I understand, you know, it's a breach of what your understanding was with him. And what I would try to do is, again, sir, are you going to charge me $100 to do the diagnostic? And you're not going to do anything else till we have a good understanding. If you say if the motor's blown up and it's going to cost $800 to get it, then we're going to back up and I'll pick up my motorcycle. A good understanding keeps down a misunderstanding. So when we go in there and we understand, the law would say, what does the reasonable man do? Is it reasonable to take 2 or 3 days? I'd say yes. Is it reasonable for a week? Probably. But when it goes on past that, then that becomes unreasonable, and that could create damages for you because you didn't have access to your motorcycle, and he could take on some liability. So yeah, you're making an excellent point, and what I take away from your situation, have a good understanding. If they can't do it, we're going to pull out and go with somebody else.
Okay, good to know. So Terry, we appreciate that call. We have a number of you on the line with us right now. We do need to take a break. Stay online. We'll get to those calls. If you do have that question or comment, though, make sure you get online with us as quickly as possible. 737-7587 is the number for those questions and comments. After this, more on Open Line.
This is Storm 5 weather up.